it's Rebecca from Music Game Club, and for those of you who have printed our beautiful Froggy Fifths game board, I wanted to review a few ways that I teach my students. So there are many different ways of teaching the circle of fifths. One of the things that I use is I have my students start on the keyboard, and they're going to start on C major, they're going to start on C, and they're going to count up 7 half steps. And so I just let them count, and then they land on G, and I say, okay, that is your first fifth around the circle of fifths, and that G major has 1 sharp, so now go up another 7 half steps. What do you land on? They land on D, which is the key signature that has 2 sharps. And so as they work their way up, you know, each key signature is adding a sharp. Then we go back to middle C, they go down a fifth. So down 7 half steps, they're going to land on F. That key signature has 1 flat. So we work our way down. So they start understanding what it looks like on the piano as far as like the fifths, how they line up. And then I show them our game board, and so they can see the sharps going around this way and the flats are going around this way. So there are 4 different levels of play for our game. I'm getting level 1 here. So level 1, it just shows you where the sharps and the flats are. So this would be your C major because there are 0 sharps or flats. And so for my beginners, that really, some of them haven't even played a sharp or flat yet. Like, this is brand new material for them, and so it's great because I can start introducing how to properly name a sharp or a flat. And so I quickly work through their card, having them identify the sharps. So this would be, I would help them by saying, okay, this is going to be raised from this key here. So this is a C, so this would be called C sharp. It's always fun to do the white keys. When they're really young, it doesn't really bother them, because if they haven't been playing lots of sharps and flats, I just say, well, this is the note that's being raised, so this is E, so this would be called E sharp. Now some of them may also say, oh, F, that's F. Well, it's the same pitch as F, but this is E sharp. E sharp and F are different notes. They do share the same pitch though. So I would quickly have them work their way through the cards, identifying just what sharps and flats are. And they're just going to be counting. So I'm not really talking about what major key they're in yet for level 1. For level 2, let me grab a level 2 card. So for level 2, here's your C major. I just happened to grab 2 in a row that had C major. All of our different cards, I think we have 12 different cards or 10 different cards for each level, and they're all jumbled up. So each time a student plays a game, they should be getting, most likely they will get a different card. And so they won't be memorizing what their key signatures are. So for me, I teach students mnemonics using the order of the sharps. So Frank can get dollars at every bank. So we just say that a few times. And then I point out that when you have sharps in your key signatures, it will always be in the same order. So Frank can get dollars. And here's Frank. So when you have sharps in your key signature, you go to your last sharp. So in this case, it's Frank, because it's only 1. And I have them go to the piano, or I have a picture of a piano or a keyboard on the floor, or a cloth keyboard even, as a graphic, if we're not close to the piano. So I have them identify where F sharp is on the piano, and then I have them go up 1 half step. And I teach them that is the major key that you're in. This is critical because we do cover relatives minor. So I get them in the habit when they're young of saying G major, so they know that's in the major key. I don't want them to just say G. That's a bad habit to get into, because G what? That's not specific enough. So here I would do Frank can get dollars. I would have them find a D sharp on the piano and go up a half a step. We are in E major. Okay, so I quickly help them identify what key they're in. For the flats, I just say, go to your next to last flat. The order of the flats is the opposite order of the sharps. So if they're ever taking a test, they can always write, Frank can get dollars at every bank, and then they know the order of the sharps and then the order of the flats, the beginning letter of each word. So bead, B-E-A-D, and then GCF, greatest common factor. That's an easy way to break it into 2 segments. For the flats, go to your next to last flat. That is the major key that you're in. So in this case, G flat is the next to last flat. So we are in G flat major. Okay? So that just takes a couple minutes at the start. The very first time that you play this game, that will be the longest time that you will spend talking about the level that they're on and having them start to understand what's in front of them. Some students will get this faster than others, and that's just normal. So play the game multiple times on one level before you level them up. So my 8-year-old daughter played level 1 a couple of times, and then she was ready for level 2. She will be at level 2 for a while. Level 3, okay, so no key signature on the grand staff. So by this time, they should be very fluent in determining the method of, they should understand their key signatures by now. So if you reverse engineer, it depends on how you're teaching it, but I reverse engineer everything. So I remind them, I say, okay, E major. So if you think about how many sharps you would need to have in order to go a half step up to E. So if you go a half step down to D sharp, okay? So Frank can get dollars. Your key signature will have 4 sharps in it. So if we go to the relative minor, if we go back to our G flat major that we were just in, I will have them go 3 half steps. I will have them start on G flat, so that's their major key, go down 3 half steps on the piano. So you're gonna land on E flat, so that's the relative minor. E flat minor and G flat major share the same key signature. So this takes a while to kind of, for them to play the game enough times for it to start sinking in, so I don't have to prompt them as much. But know that it's completely fine to be helping them and even giving them the correct answer the first few times you play through our game, Circle of Fifths. It will just make them more confident and it will reassure them. And then you can start weaning yourself off from giving them the answers. You can, prompt them by asking questions or giving them hints. So one other quick thing that I wanted to mention about finding the relative majors. So I gave the example earlier of G flat major and finding the relative minor. So you go down 3 half steps. One thing to remind your students, when they land on that black key, they might say D sharp instead of E flat. So you have to remind them that it is a minor third. So you're going down 3 half steps, but it's a minor third. And so the name needs to represent that third. So if you're on G, so G, F, E, I always say this, it has to be E something. Okay, so same thing when I'm dealing with intervals or chords. I always, you've got to find what the name should be and then figure out the size of the interval or the full chord name, or in this case, what the relative minor would be. You don't want to turn it into a fourth. So yeah, just be aware of that. Students can quickly count 3 half steps, but they might jump to the wrong note name to begin with. So you just be watching out for that. And ultimately just have fun, be lighthearted about it, and just keep reminding them. It takes a few times for it to sink in, but playing the game definitely does help. We are super excited about this game. Obviously you can see that there are 4 key signatures per card. So when they land on the game board, on the key signature that they need, then they get to cover it up. So the first person to cover the 4 on their card, and each card will be different. And you can have multiple levels being represented around the game board. So you can have a level 1, a level 2, a level 3, and a level 4 student playing all at the same time, which is a really exciting thing. So anyway, have fun hopping around the keyboard and celebrate with your students understanding the Circle of Fifths and key signatures, and identifying key signatures and the relative minors.